The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 27th day of April, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman. He's Larry Marshall Jr. and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. My good brother, happy Thursday. How you doing?
I'm good. You know, agriculture exhibition. I know that's your favorite time when you was growing up, even though you didn't know it wasn't today.
Well, you know what? People always think this is odd, but you know why I really liked the agricultural exhibition? Because in Bermuda growing up, you saw dogs, you saw cats. The only time I really got to see pigs was then. And pigs to me were like seeing a lion in a safari. You know what I'm saying? So I hope the kids are just excited today as I was growing up to see the pigs.
Well, your godson's about to go in a few, and he's already talking about the pig, so hopefully they do enjoy it.
All right, I told him he's got to take some pictures of the pigs for me, so you know.
Yeah, I'm not taking the pictures.
Why you gotta do? Well, look, that's why I know what I'm getting him for his birthday. His birthday is coming up, folks. So I'm gonna get him a little camera so he could take care of his godpa and get some footage when he goes out. Can't rely on the old man, you know.
Not at all.
Can do it. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome former professional footballer Clyde Bass, MBE, to the show. Really looking forward to this one. I said backstage, Sir John, Clyde Bass, these are the kind of people we love having to engage with the audience, especially because, Bermudians don't get to engage with them often, right? So we have a lot of serious shows. We speak about health and wellness, and very important shows, but sometimes we have to, relax and speak to some of the people that we read about, we hear about, we just don't get to engage with. So thankful for Mr. Bass and his family for making time to come and engage with the audience. Looking forward to it. The Daily Play is a name that plays today. So I don't know. Sherry didn't do too well yesterday with the music. She always says in the audience, "Oh, I would have got the music." And she gets very. It's like Wheel of Fortune, right, folks? I watched Wheel of Fortune. And I always like, how didn't they get that? And then you realize, Jamal, when the lights are on and people are in that studio looking at you, it's not the same as being in front of the TV and shouting out stuff. Your nerves, everything. So.
That's why I'm keeping quiet today until I get it right.
Until he gets it right, folks. You heard him. Until he gets it right. Anyway, folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Let's jump right into this morning's discussion. Look, the headline in the Rogue Gazette yesterday, basically investors will take their money elsewhere if hotel SDO fails, right? So if the special development order fails, investors for the Fairmont Southampton will go elsewhere. This is an important conversation because, people have asked me on the site, because apparently I haven't been clear on the Daily Hour where I stand on the issue. Even you asked me yesterday, Larry, right? You asked, and truthfully, about 4 people asked me yesterday, and I said, wow, I really haven't been clear on the Daily Hour, and that's fair. That's fair, because if I'm going to give an opinion, I should be strong and stand in my conviction of what that is. Now, as it relates to my thoughts on the SDO, I'll share it publicly now. At the end of the day, I'm all about what's in the best interest of Bermuda and Bermudians. That's it. Like, I have no special interest in it. Do I believe having that hotel back open is in the best interest of Bermuda and Bermudians? Yes. That hotel needs to be open like yesterday. I understand from working in tourism and representing Bermuda in New York, where I oversaw corporate groups and incentive groups to Bermuda. That was the most important facility in the tourism space for Bermuda. To not have that is detrimental to Bermuda's existence in the tourism industry. So it needs to be open yesterday. So, how do I feel about the SDO? That brings us to our question today. What would you offer as a compromise for Fairmont Southampton? That's the question. Because personally, folks, and I know most of you will probably disagree, but Bermuda doesn't have much leverage. These hoteliers can go to, like, let's use Turks and Caicos. Turks and Caicos. Again, I've given examples of it. Many people who travel there had never heard of it 20 years ago. But right now, your favorite celebrities are flocking there. Not only are they flocking there, but investors are flocking there. Why? Because unlike Bermuda, Turks and Caicos has a lot more land to develop. We don't. Bermuda is a mature destination. What that means is there's not really much green space to build. We have to renovate and build what we already have.
Yeah.
Because of that, it takes away options. So I'm looking at this. I saw someone say yesterday, speak about Bermuda tourism, about the hotels being full. And well, of course they're going to be full. There's only like 3 hotels. I'm exaggerating. But see, here in South Florida, where I work, in Palm Beach, we're still setting record tourism numbers, but hotel occupancy has gone down. And some people will say, well, how is that? Well, investors look at this space and they're like, we want to build a hotel. There's opportunity. So obviously, there's going to be less occupancy if there's more hotel options. That's a good problem to have. It's not a good problem to have when you only have a few hotels to choose from and they're all full.
Yeah.
So in saying that, I'm guessing I gave you my answer, but if I'm still not direct, Bermuda needs to compromise on something. What do they compromise on? I think that's what the conversation should be. But you voted, you've trusted your politicians to make those decisions for you.
Yeah.
And if
It's
you don't like
interesting.
the decisions they're making for you, then you know what to do. Sorry, go ahead, bro.
It's interesting that you use the word trust because, excuse me, once the news came out with the SEO and you saw the picture or the visual, and a lot of people came up in arms when they realized how much residential units were being built. I think most people want the renovations
Mm,
with a couple new things, but they object with the uh what is it, 147 residential buildings that's supposed to be that they're proposing.
mm,
I think where I come at it is okay, we are not in a power position. And in anything, when you're in a position of strength, you got to dictate the terms. And
mm.
if you don't like it, you go to somewhere else who does. I think that's pretty much what you said.
Yeah.
Bermuda is on the receiving end of being in the power position. You know what I mean? They have to kind of take what they can. I think I myself and a lot of other people, whether they voted for it or not,
Mhm,
uh, don't like the lack of transparency, or the word you just used is they don't trust what's going on. And
mhm,
I go back to one of the reasons why the MP Curtis Dickinson walked away. He walked away because of things that happened with this deal, and those details have yet to come out. And that's a problem. If he was my area MP, I would really put him to question about that. And through the grapevine, I don't know if it's signed something where he can't talk about it,
mhm,
which to me is a problem because he was doing the government's work, and
mhm,
I really don't think that that should be going on. But that is valuable information. The
mhm,
fact is that a good portion of the Bermudian public do not trust the current government. They feel that it's some back deal, skullduggery,
mhm,
or whatever you may feel. And I myself would just like more information to give a better informed decision.
mhm.
But that lack of trust, I think, is key because you see it with education, finance, so many different issues. And I think it keeps circling back to the government cannot be trusted.
And, you know, I mean, Cher's favorite word, transparency.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself, why wouldn't they be? Now, there's instances with the airport deal where they said, look, that's just not how it works. You know, it's a private entity, private businesses. We can't share those details. At the end of the day, as long as there's public funds involved, public monies, public interest, then agreement should be made. Now, again, folks, let us know, audience, what are your thoughts? What would you offer as a compromise? It seems like a lot of people have an issue with these residential units being built in green space. But again, as I said, we don't have any leverage as a country. Bermuda doesn't have leverage. We've got to understand and accept that, because, I mean, maybe some of you see it as a threat, but that headline, investors will take their money elsewhere if hotel SDO fails. Folks,
That's a real possibility.
that's not a threat. That's some, and I'm speaking, look, I'm speaking legit, no bias. I'm just speaking from the industry, not as an expert, but a person who actually works outside of Bermuda in this space. I said it yesterday on my WhatsApp status. Businesses are not charities. Businesses exist to make money, to generate revenue, enough revenue so that they can make a profit. That's why businesses exist.
Yeah.
Businesses are not governments. They don't exist to take care of you. Every job that exists in a business is there because the business, it's a relationship. They benefit, you benefit, right? And the relationship continues until it doesn't. I think we have an issue where we kind of think that Bermuda is still this it thing. It's not. Other jurisdictions and destinations have caught up or surpassed Bermuda as a destination that people want to visit. And I think we really need to understand that. I know Hubert Smith told us all, Bermuda is another world. But this is 2023.
Yeah.
It's a different time.
And real quick before we go to the audience, I know you've mentioned this before, but I remember with my wife's family in West Virginia, and they was going on vacation, and they brought up this small town in Tennessee that I had never heard about. That is a huge tourism destination, and I'm just saying, man, this is one spot in a small town that no one has heard about. And it's so many more of those types of situations that's popping up all over the world, and we have to compete, whereas before it wasn't as many. And
You make a great point, and I used to say this all the time on this show as well, that Bermudians, most people may think that we're competing against, they always think Caribbean islands. No, there's a little town in Iowa
yeah,
that has a tourism organization, marketing organization that you're competing with. There's a little town outside of Buenos Aires or whatever it's called in Argentina, competing for the same business Bermuda's competing for. There's a little town somewhere up in Saskatchewan, Canada, that is competing for the same business. I think to Larry's point, to add to it, the world is so much bigger than the space we live within. And I say that all the time. And when I used to go to those travel shows with Bermuda Tourism and see certain cities, oh, where is this? Oh, we're in Oregon. Oh, near Portland? No, we're 3 hours from Portland, because I only knew of Portland because of sports, right?
yeah,
Folks, it's not just the island destinations or the Dubais that you think of that surpass Bermuda. It's the little towns in Middle America and Northern Canada and Central and South America,
yeah,
Europe. We can't rely on, oh, we're just 90 minutes away from New York City. People will travel far for the experiences they really want. Let's go to the audience. Folks, what would you offer as a compromise for Fairmont, Southampton? Shamari Talbot says, we should negotiate that they reopen the hotel and use the investment allocated for the residential development to instead go towards finishing a Morgan's Point. Instead, Bermuda wins and the investors have a substantial safety net with Morgan's Point. I like that idea, actually. I see what you're saying there.
yeah.
But I don't know how the Morgan's point, like, I mean, that's a mess itself. Michael Daniels says, I would like to see the development I would like to see the development in defined phases with reevaluation at the completion of each phase. Speak to us as to why you'd like to see that, Michael Daniels. Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Also, what will you be conceding, like, or giving the concessions to?
Oh,
Um,
previous one.
yeah. I personally don't have, Sean Smith says, I personally don't have a problem with the development. Those that do, put up or shut up. How many Bermudians are prepared to put their money into buy and develop the site? Okay.
I mean, I'm kind of there. I'm kind of there with Sean Smith. I personally don't have a problem with the development like others. I think so. So for me, and again, I'm not knocking anybody's cause. I think if this is your cause, you fight for it. You go for it. You represent for your beliefs. And I understand the concerns of people saying they're really marching and fighting and protesting over this SDO when our children are being impacted in schools, when there are people dying on our roads, when there are young men murdering each other, when healthcare is a mess. This is what they're choosing to fight for. I've heard those arguments, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I do. What I've learned from conscription is that, again, everyone's going to have their cause. The idea is not to belittle anyone else's cause. At the end of the day, if you don't support it and you think something else is more important, then you put as much fight as they're putting in their cause into yours. And during that process, you educate people along the way as to why your cause is important. Let's do one more comment, then bring Maya in for the news break. Charles H. Jeffs II says, this is what happens when you allow a hotel to be closed for 3 years. The hotel is of national importance and needs to be opened ASAP. The developers know that and want to maximize their profit. Absolutely. And I think, Charles, you added something yesterday, and you said that when we sign these deals, there should be something that says that the hotel has to reopen in a certain time period. I believe you said something to that point. But I agree. Like, when these developers come in, they should sign an agreement that it has to be open by this point, or this is what they owe the government or give up on. But as he said, we have no choice at this point.
Yeah.
We put ourselves in a non-negotiable, like, I can't.
They have us, buddy. You know what?
I literally just stopped what I was saying because I didn't want to use the language that I probably shouldn't use to describe it. But pretty much, basically, perfectly put. Perfectly put.
Yeah, and I think what's most concerning is that the current SDO that's in place that was approved in 2009 already gave concessions, and they're saying no, that's not enough. Because I was like, okay, but why they just don't use that? And it's like, no, we want more, and they will try and take everything to maximize their profits because they know we have little choice.
Real quickly, yes or no, audience, let us know as we bring Maya in. Yes or no, do you agree with the current SDO for Fairmont Southampton? Yes or no? Let us know in the audience, and we'll go to the responses while Maya's in. But yes or no, do you agree with the current SDO for Fairmont Southampton? Yes or no? Let's bring Maya in for the Daily Hour news break.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, madam. How are you?
I'm doing well.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. We're just talking about the SDO, and obviously there's going to be a parade tomorrow to the Cabinet grounds, and fair to those who are taking up the cause to march.
You call it a parade, though.
I was going to say there's going to be a march tomorrow. Yes.
I mean, march, parade. It is Bermuda Day soon, but you get my point. You get my point. But. No, all seriousness, there's not going to be any major or gun bears. These are people that are marching for a cause. And, I guess, I don't know if you've put this question out to the Media Maya audience, but do you know how, people are feeling, younger people are feeling about this? Like, is it of interest like it is to some of the, older Bermudians?
I'm sure it's very much of interest, but no, I haven't posed that question. It's like what we talked about yesterday, like what are our biggest, what was the question that we had? Like our biggest concerns of the island right now. And I do want to focus and continue focusing on child abuse in Bermuda, and also, just the violence. And yeah, so I am currently focused on that with my audience. But
Mhm.
this is a story that I have brought to light and just listening to all the responses on Twitter. It was a big issue with just the landscape, but now coming into this, I'm curious to know if people are for it, against it, or think that we just need to have it, or no, not at all.
Yeah, audience, let us know, yes or no. Are you for the current SDO? Like, are you for the special development order? Yes or no? Like, just yes or no. Are you for it? Interesting that they're quiet regarding it this morning. People are scared to go either way. I'm going to be honest with you. If I had to say something for the benefit of Bermuda, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I am okay with the special development order because I understand the importance of the hotel, but I also understand that Bermuda has no leverage. That's just the reality. That's the
I
reality.
think
So
what Charles,
go ahead.
I think before you come back, Maya, what Charles said, uh, we have no choice at this point. I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, the hotels literally will sit there closed with Elbow Beach and the others. Like that would not help. Like I know that may upset some people, and it may be my ignorance because I am not. Look, Maya just knows. I even meant you sent you a video yesterday. I saw more art downtown West Palm Beach, folks. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm learning things. I'm going to put myself in spaces as I learn things. I'm not an environmentalist. I don't really understand it like they do. So my opinion in this is based on my ignorance in that space, but my knowledge in the other space of tourism. That hotel needs to open. That's where I'm coming from with it. So
I will say this: I do recall when the Premier David Burt and MP Curtis Dickinson at the time were, it was a debate whether or not who was going to actually become premier at that time because of the whole voting internal election. And Premier David Burt did mention, Gen Com, and I remember posting that and listening to him talk about the purpose of having it so that Bermudians can get jobs. And there were a lot of people on his side for that main reason. So I know some people might be a little bit conflicted, but having it back open or whatever, if people are holding on to that to get a job, so that's another issue as well. Like, people are holding on to that reason to be employed again.
all right. Well, Sean Smith says he's good with it. Karen Simmons says she's good with it. Maya, what you got in the news break for us today?
Well, good morning, everyone. This is the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. A quick wrap up of the news this morning. Jonathan Bell of the Royal Gazette actually reported that food prices have risen 10.1% in the year leading up to January 2023. The whole entire complex consumer index is out and available on gov.bm if you wish to read it. But basically, as we all know, prices just keep going up, and it doesn't look like that's going to be stopping. And the 10% has kept on going since September.
We await the statement from Minister Hayward to tell us things aren't that bad. What else you got?
Well, coming up next, all the students out there or parents, I can tell the students the Balco deadline scholarship is April 30th. So if you can, make sure you apply. You never know. So get on that. You can find it at scholarships@bermuda.bm, or even just going to the Balco website yourself to apply.
April 30th. What's that, Sunday?
Yeah, it's coming up soon.
Yeah,
That
and
is Sunday.
Yeah, real quick. This is the scholarship season. Parents, if your child is of that age, just apply. You just never know, as Maya said. Apply.
Please do, because there are some people that I applied to. I remember, like, there's no way, but I still got an interview, and some I actually got. So apply. And it's hard to figure out those websites. I remember having to do it on my own, and it was difficult. So help
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming up next in the news, as you all know, the agricultural exhibition starts today. This one is primarily, might be a bit different. So, get your eyes out and see what's going on, because we know that the government took back over putting on the Ag Show. So this is going to be a new one, but it starts today, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So make your way up there and enjoy the Ag Show. A story that actually comes from the Ag Show. I know you guys will recall 16-year-old Amber Bridges, who unfortunately and sadly died in a collision in 2021. While they are honoring her at the Ag Show with these bridges at the horse stable. So here's a quick picture that I got from her news. Amber's wings. The
Nice.
is in the brainchild of Amber's mother, Heidi Bridges, who noted that the agriculture exhibition is a family event that holds a special place in the moments and the memories from her childhood. But more importantly, those of her children, Lucas and Amber.
That's cool.
Yes. And closing out my news for today, the Berkeley Institute had the 125th anniversary, and they had an alumni and current students art exhibition. And as creatives and just people of the world, you can't be creative if you don't consume creations. So here's a quick video of just the event in itself. They had a bunch of art again from the alumni and students. So it was amazing to see like people who had done things back in 1990 something, and then those who did something in 2022, and just seeing the visual differences of like how they, view the world. So here's a quick little video.
Were those that was all student art?
No, some of it was past teachers, former teachers, former students, and current students. So it was a mixture of all the ages.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, I like it.
That's all for my news break this morning. I know we have an amazing guest coming in, so I want to keep it nice and short for everyone. But the weather today looking like sunny periods with a couple of showers later in the morning. So, we'll bring your umbrella if you're definitely going to the egg show, and we have a high of 71 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh no, pigs like mud, so hope gets a little rain down there from.
Yeah, they'd enjoy it.
For the egg show.
I care about the pigs. What you got days of the year for us, Bert?
Today is Thank You Thursday. It's easy to get involved with Thank You Thursday. Just reach out to the people in your life, whether personal or professional, and thank them for what you do. Thank you, Maya and Jamal, for what you do.
Thank you, Larry, and thank you, Maya, for what you do.
Thank you, Marshall, for making me run all the time in school, even though I hated it. And thank you, Jamal, for this opportunity with the Daily Hour. I did learn a lot from both, so gotta put some things out there.
All right, folks. Football, hockey, running. It's just
Look, the clip in Vegas with her kicking the ball, I sent her a message. I said, you was better in running than football.
But I don't know. Boyles really wanted her to play football, right? He said it on the show, so I don't know, Maya. I don't know.
Everybody wants. If you're an athlete, you want to do everything.
Yeah,
that's right. True.
Yeah,
that's right. True. I still want to do basketball.
Oh, you saw Maya in the video got a swish. You saw it. She's over Shaq too.
I didn't see that one.
You better watch the video. She got the swish. Yeah, the boxer too. Maya, thank you so much. You go enjoy your day.
Thank you guys, and have an amazing conversation with Clyde Bass, who's a legend.
All right. Thanks much. All right, Maya Palacio, folks, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We have a very good conversation coming up with one of Bermuda's best.
Legend.
Mr. Clyde Bass, MBE, coming up after this break. Stick with us. Get your questions, comments ready, and enjoy and engage with us. All right, stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Larry Marshall Jr. I am Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media platforms to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we continue to do our part to improve our community. Real quickly, tomorrow will be 700 episodes of this show. 700 episodes. Now, to put that in context, most of your favorite sitcoms don't go over 150 to 200 episodes. Most of your movie franchises do about 2 or 3. The next week, we celebrate 3 years of doing this show. So people say, man, I didn't realize it was so much in the back that you have to do. Trust me, it's more than the hour that we do it. It's a lot of work, the amount of research and reading that they have to do. And Maya putting together the stories, and Tamara Grett putting together the news breaks. It's a lot. It's a lot. And to wake up every day at 5 a.m. or whatever and do this, it's I wouldn't change it for the world, because it's the audience that makes it worthwhile, and especially guests like today, Mr. Clyde Best. Let's give a warm welcome to one of Bermuda's legends of the game of football, Mr. Clyde Best. Morning, sir. Morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Very well, thank you. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. It is a pleasure to have you on the Daily Hour. As you can see, we're very excited. Giddy and excited to have you. But thank you for doing this. Thank you to your family for arranging this. And let's just jump right into the conversation. I was a mentor at Delwood back about 15 years ago. I was a mentor, and the young man who I was mentoring was doing a school project, and his school project was on yourself. And it was through that project that even I learned more about you. I heard your name. I love football, so I knew you were a goal scoring striker. I knew you played for West Ham. What I didn't know is what you had, how symbolic what you did was at the time, and that was through this student. But in saying that, for those who don't know, I mean, it was at 17. You were you went over to England. That's a young age. That's a very young age. Children are still in high school in Bermuda at 17 right now. But what led you to go into West Ham, becoming a professional footballer, and then, right now today, what are you doing that people may not know?
Well, the thing that I'm doing right now is enjoying retirement. I get up when I want, do what I want, go to different places when I want, and it's through football that I'm able to do those sort of things.
Yeah. And speak to us about your road from Bermuda to West Ham. At a young age, what was that like for you?
Well, it was great for me because that's what I wanted to do. I couldn't do it here in Bermuda, and England was the only place that I was able to go at that time. And what a lot of people, I'm sure we all realize that in Bermuda, we really pay attention to English football. And on a Saturday, everybody in Bermuda has a team that they're associated with here in Bermuda. And I was no different at a young age. And, I wanted to be a professional. And fortunately enough, the gentleman, Graham Adams, who was our national team coach at the time, made arrangements through Ron Greenwood, who was West Ham United football coach at the time. And he invited me over for a trial for 2 weeks. And he liked what he saw. And he told me after the first week that, hey, I want to keep you here and to play for West Ham. And I was over the moon because that's what I always wanted to do. And what an opportunity, and coming from Bermuda, really helped as well because, as I said, Graham Evans had me in the national team when I was like 15 years old. And
Well,
a lot of the guys that I were playing with, were men. And to be in that company with them and traveling, Central America, North America, Canada. And, I was able to develop and uh, really get my skills at the level that it need to be at to become a professional player. Another thing I think that helped me tremendously, my dad ran casemates at that time, and we all moved to Dockyard because that's where he wanted a lot of the officers to stay at the time. And we had a lot of English ships that used to come in at that time. And at 12-year old, I was playing against men down in Dockyard at Mosby Plain. And they would see me on the sideline just standing, and they would invite me to play with them. So I think those two things with the national team coach and playing against the ships, helped to develop me because as a kid at 12-year old playing against men, when I went to England, it was nothing new to me because I had already uh, developed playing against men.
Nice. Quite a story. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, it's no secret that when you that you dealt with racism and harassment
Mm.
while playing in England. What were some of the lessons from that experience that helped shape you into the person that you'd become?
Well, I think I always will thank my dad for that because he brought me up to make me understand that when you are over there playing, you're not playing for yourself. You're playing for all the people that are coming after you and all the people that are working in jobs that they probably don't like but still have to do it. And those are the people that you play for. And, when I do go back and have a chance to speak to a lot of the people, a lot of them are thankful and really pleased with what I was able to achieve.
Gotcha. And I was reading an article recently, and it spoke to yourself saying that you were known as the first Black role model in English football, which is a huge statement. But how do you feel about athletes using their platforms for different causes today? Like we just before you came on, we were talking about some things happening in Bermuda, and I'm going to be very frank and say this, and it may upset a lot of people. Um, I couldn't name many athletes in Bermuda who actually have taken on a cause, right? I don't know of, we celebrate cup match every year. Like people would do a cup match, maybe not the players, but I have an issue with it. When I see the Colin Kaepernicks, when I see Rio Ferdinand's just doing something, releasing a doc later this year on racism, Muhammad Ali also took a stand. But what are your thoughts on athletes using their platforms to take on different causes?
I think it's great when they have an opportunity to take on causes because what better people to be able to do something like that with the power and the strength that they have and the likeness from the people. People tend to listen to athletes a lot because the people believe in athletes. And so I think it's a great thing that they take on causes. I'm a real admirer of people like Rio and the boy that plays for Manchester United right now, Rashford.
Mhm.
They make things happen, and it's a good thing. And when you look at the world today and see what's going on, we need to use athletes and sport to uh, take care of some of the problems that we have in the world today. When you look at certain parts of Africa, you still have people that don't have drinking water or they're in war today. That's not a good thing. So if we can use sport and my sport in particular, because we draw masses of people, I think it's a good thing.
Right. If you have any questions or comments for Mr. Best, please send them through. We'll get through as many comments and questions as possible, but feel free to send your questions through at the earliest.
I'm sitting here and I'm sort of like Jamal, got goosebumps. As a child, my dad talked to us a lot about Clyde Bass. He said how he played against you, and then how you ran on. I knew he took Martin Peters and Jeff Hurst. I knew some of your teammates, and it just stuck with me. So it's definitely a pleasure to be involved in this conversation.
Well, thank you very
Um,
much. I appreciate that.
brother, football has evolved since your playing days. It seems to be more inclusive. but what role do you think football and sports in general plays in improving our communities?
Well, if you go around the world and you see what's going on, I think football can play a tremendous part in communities. You look at us here in Bermuda. At one time, we had a lot of community soccer. Kids were playing football all over the place, and because of changing times, you don't see that so much now. Um, when I was growing up, I went to West End School, and as a matter of fact, my age group were the first team to win a championship. And we went from Somerset to St. George's playing football. And that's why we were able to do the things that we did because we learned to compete at an early age. Um, when you look at the schools now and you see the competition and the sports that are going on in the schools, it's not so much like that. They don't have much competition, you know.
Yeah. So, what causes are most important to you today?
Say that again.
What causes are most important to you today?
Well, the causes that I like, I like to make sure that the elderly people and the young people are taken care of and looked after, and people are doing the right thing for those people. Because if you look at a lot of the elderly people, if it wasn't for them, where would we be today? So it's very important that we pay attention to making sure that the elderly are taken care of and make sure that we do the right thing for these people because it's very important. Without them, there is no us.
I concur. I said that
Yeah.
yesterday is two people, the elderly and children are most vulnerable, and we need to ensure that they are protected and mostly, yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you did speak on that you did go West End, and that was a huge part of your development. We're speaking with
Mm.
young people. Did you want to expand more about the West End situation?
It's a sad thing to see, what is going on at the present time because when you look at West End School, it's one of the first schools in the Western Hemisphere, and it has a lot of history. When you look at the people that have come out of West End, even before me, Mr. Cox, Mr. Horton, all the Hortons, you know, um, doctors, lawyers, dentists, all these sort of people. And it's a shame that they can't come to a conclusion and solve this problem because it's something that needs to be solved. And, we have to learn in life lots of times you got to do the right thing, and let's hope that they're able to sit down and come to a solution where it's going to be right for, the people in Somerset.
yeah,
Yeah, I would agree and concur with you. I think sometimes what bothers me most is it seems like they don't have much for the history of these institutions. And I'm in no way suggesting that things get capped solely for the
Mm,
history, but it seems like
mm,
that's not even being considered. So, I
right.
wish they would, look to consider more of the history at these institutions rather than just move on past it.
Well, you know what our parents always told us. If you don't know your history, you can't go forward. You have to learn your history and what's going on and realize what people done for us. And if we can learn those things, then we can move on.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What advice would you give those with a platform who may be afraid to support their preferred courses publicly?
Well, I think the most important thing, if you have something, a platform that you want to get out to the public, you got to believe in it, first of all. It's no sense just being out there and not believing in what your platform is going to want, what you need to achieve to get to where you need to get to. So I would say the most important thing is to believe in yourself and what you have as a platform to deliver to the people.
Got some questions from the audience, folks. If you have any questions for Mr. Best, please just send them through, and we'll try to get through as many as possible. Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, "There's a documentary currently being done about your life. What message do you hope is conveyed through that project?"
Well, I hope the most important thing is that people understand what I had to go through to achieve what I achieved, and you know, understand that it wasn't an easy road. I had good people working behind me in the corners that made sure that things went the right way. And as I said, hey, if you believe in something, go for it. Don't give up, you know, and just keep fighting. And, you know, somewhere along the line, you're going to come out on top.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that because the word that comes to my mind is sacrifice. And I know you had to sacrifice a lot during your career. You had to build a lot of things in. And I can, on a small scale, kind of relate when we decided to challenge conscription. I was at the top of my running career and I needed to use the resources to deal with my injuries, and of course, the resources needed to go elsewhere, and it pretty much sacrificed my running career. Um,
Hmm.
when we talk about the current athletes, many don't want to speak out because they kind of, and keeping it local, they get funding from government or the national sporting governing bodies. What how can we kind of bridge where they're able to stand out on their lane and or give a bit of encouragement for them to speak up on some of these causes? Because Bermuda, as we kind of knew, that our top athletes aren't saying, "Hey, this is right," or speaking on certain causes.
Well, I think if you have a cause and you believe in it, you got to speak up. You know, it's no sense sitting on the fence, you know, because in the long run, you know, it's going to affect you too. So if you got something that you think and you know is right, speak up about it. Don't just sit there and with your mouth closed because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I would concur. Mark Arthur C. Phillips has a question. He's asking, did you have a relationship with black players like Jack Leslie and Laurie Cunningham?
I knew Laurie. Laurie was a younger player when I went there. Jack used to work at West Ham United, so I knew Jack um, from being at West Ham as a young person. And Jack would pull me aside and we'd talk about the game because he played. Jack was one of the first black players selected for England, but because of the color of his skin, he didn't play. But he had played in England and in the top flight, and he would pull me aside and say, "Hey, Clyde, you know, well played," or you know, you should try to do it this way. And I would listen to him, and because he had been there and he knew what he was talking about. So when you have people like that in your corner and willing to pass things on to you, you got to sit there and listen.
In the beginning of the conversation, you mentioned you're enjoying retirement. What does retirement feel and look like for Mr. Clyde Best?
Hey, it's beautiful. Instead of just sitting off now talking to you guys, and as I say, if I'm in control of my things myself, you know, I don't have to worry about other things. You know what I mean? And as I said, that's a good space to be in. You know, there are a lot of people I know, even in our little island, that you know have to struggle for certain things. You know, and I hope that we as a country can help to solve a lot of those problems because it's not fair for a person that is put their entire life and to have a fruitful life after they retire and still not be able to achieve it. So, you know, I'm blessed and I thank the Lord and my parents and sisters and brothers for that and the people of Bermuda.
Thank you, sir. One last question from the audience. Anthony Peets is asking, what advice do you share with young footballers and parents aspiring to reach the professional ranks?
Well, my first thing, I will always tell them, let your child decide what he wants to do when it comes to being professional or not. You cannot play through your children.
Hmm.
You have to make sure that they're given every opportunity to be able to get to the heights that they want to get to. So I would say to a lot of parents, you know, stay on the side, you know, keep your mouth closed, just let the kid do what he has to do. And the ones that get to the top, those are the things that they listen to.
It's been an awesome conversation. I must ask you, are considered a Somerset Trojan, and
Yes.
cup match is coming up. Do you think Somerset will retain the cup match trophy this year, or are my boys in the East getting our cup back?
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think? Who do you think I'm going to support in cup match if I'm a Trojan?
I thought you might have been neutral today. I thought he might have said, you know what? We'll had it long enough. Georgia might have a chance.
No, what you got to remember, what we're doing to you now, you done to us many, many years ago.
Indeed.
And when the great Kelvin Bumby Simons and Dennis Wainwright,
yep,
and Rupert Scotland and all those people were playing, you used to give us a good hiding.
Yeah, I think you need to remind. I think you need to remind Sherry and Senja of this because they just know this current situation.
Our co-hosts think that Somerset's the be all end all, like they always had the cup.
I can't blame them. I can't blame them for that. It's a nice feeling to be in a nice space. It's nice to be able to walk through Bermuda and not get somebody shouting bad things at you because we're beating up St. George's. So we know how you feel, and because we've been that way in the past, and as I said, I had 2 years playing cup match, and it's not no fun being molded by those guys from St. George's because at that time they had a fantastic team.
Yeah. Growing up, St. George's always had the cup, and I mean Somerset's dominance over the last decade has just been it's been incredible. But hey, it's the love of the game. It's how sports works, right? For years, Manchester United were at top. Now it's Man City's turn, and someone else will come again. So that's the balance of it. Mr. Best, thank you so much for having this conversation. Thank you to your family for helping arrange it. There's so much more we can discuss. So many more things. Just how the way the professional games evolved, the local game itself, but also just athletes beyond, because I mean, I think in my chat groups, one of the concerns for footballers in Bermuda is they don't have insurance, so that they don't want to show up for this or that, and like what that level looks like going from, is it prep school or taking them to academies? And then there's the other part where those who don't make it professionally, there was a story recently following up on the suicide of the Man City player from some years ago. So there's so much more we can discuss, but for that, I'm grateful for this conversation, and would love to continue sometime down the road if you're so open to that.
Definitely. I think one of the most important things, you must let the young people that aspire to be professional players, you have to have something to fall back on if you don't make it as a professional player. So that's where education comes into play. So if you have the aspiration to being a professional player, get your schoolwork done as well, because if you break your leg tomorrow, you have to have something to fall back on.
Indeed. Clyde Bass, MBE, thank you so much, sir, for joining us this morning. We'll definitely be in touch. Please know if you ever love to come back, our door is wide open. Have a great day.
Hey, that's no problem. You just call and set it up anytime you want. I'm here for you.
Thank you, Mr. Best. Have a great one.
Thank you, guys. You have a good day.
You too. Folks, if you appreciated Mr. Clyde Best this morning, please give us a thumbs up, love, a like. We're going to take a quick break, come back, wrap it up. Man, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. It's not often we get to speak to one of the best there is and speak about the causes beyond the sport that they're known for. Stick with us. We're going to take this quick break.
Hi, welcome to ER Fisheries. I'm Jalen Steed, store manager and trained chef, and I'm here to help you with all of your food needs. Let's talk about why you should come and check out ER Fisheries. We offer the widest range of specialty meats and seafood items at a price point that will absolutely fit your budget. As a chef, I'm able to answer all of your food questions, help you come up with meal ideas, and generally guide you in the right direction. You'll get a custom shopping experience unlike any other food store in Bermuda, where we'll cater to your needs and provide you with excellent customer service. Where else can you get quality cooking advice and quality products? I look forward to helping you with all your meal ideas.
Alrighty, welcome back. Thanks again to Mr. Clyde Bass, MBE. Folks, like I said, if you appreciated that conversation, found it helpful, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, you ready?
Sure.
It's a name that plays today. Outside of West Ham, what European team did Clyde Best play for?
Oh, I know it.
He heard the answer, folks. He heard me talking about it to Mr. Best.
No, I didn't. I've been there. That.
Heard me. Nah, he played for Feyenoord in what years?
Come on, man. Stop. You're trying to,
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I got it right already. I don't get points for half answers and whatnot. You don't get points for trying to bring up stuff afterwards. I got it right. Sherry and Sancho.
Taking shots at Sancho and Sherry. I ain't say nothing, folks. You heard me. I ain't say nothing. That was
I let the music play this time, then.
All right. Yeah, Mr. Best played for Feyenoord 77-78 season. So yes, he was in the Dutch league. Let's wrap it up. The final thoughts on this morning's discussion, the SDO, and then obviously the conversation with Mr. Best.
Yeah, with regard to the SDO, I'm interested to see how this goes, but I think the general consensus with a lot of people now is yes, this is probably what we have to concede. We are not in a position of power, but I think we have to reflect as a people to see how we really got here and at this point, because this is just one part of Bermuda. If we allow this type of situation to happen in other areas, we could be in some real trouble. With respect to Mr. Best, as I said, man, this was just an awesome opportunity to have to speak to one of Bermuda's living legends. We often talk about the Michael Jordans or the Muhammad Ali's and others. This gentleman was huge in the area of sport, and we need to recognize exactly what it is. I heard him speak to a group of middle school kids when I was working in these schools, and they really weren't that interested, and it bothered me. You know what I mean? Because he was telling stories about playing against Manchester United and whatnot. So I'm just glad that we had that opportunity, and it was interesting that he has some takes about the age concern and some of the current issues that's in Bermuda.
Yeah. Regarding the SDO, as I stated, myself, I am not necessarily opposed to it. I think Bermuda doesn't have leverage, and we need that hotel open. Am I saying we give up everything? No, with the right people in the room, you negotiate for what you believe you can get. That would be the best deal for Bermuda. So that's that. As far as Mr. Best, I think that term, give the people the flowers while they're alive. I don't know. We need to celebrate them. I mean, the amount of Bermudians, men and women, that watch the Premier League today, right? Well, it is the same top flight that existed back then. It's just in '92 it was named the Premier League. But you watch top flight football in England, and you see a lot of black players.
Yeah.
Please understand the role that Clyde Bass played in what you see today. I don't think people really know or understand this. I don't. And we always talk about history when it comes to politics, folks. That is history. That is you. This is a person to celebrate. And I love how he said how influential his father was and his family in terms of dealing with the racism and so on, keeping focus. I also love what he said. I have a big problem. Honestly, I don't say it enough. I have a big problem with local athletes in Bermuda who don't take a stand for stuff. You literally have so many issues, whether it's healthcare, violence. You have the education system. I was happy to hear Mr. Bass speak about the West End situation, share his opinion. I never heard, I could be wrong, name a cup match player, a captain of cup match team. Come forward, take a stand. You have a platform, you use it. I'm not buying the excuse that Larry didn't say it was an excuse, but the thing that, well, so much funding comes from government, you don't want to upset them. I'm not hearing that.
Yeah.
You have a platform, use it for the good, because I tell you what, you're going to benefit from the good that everyone else is fighting for. I'd love to see more athletes using their platforms. Got some daily inspiration for us, Brett?
I do. Today's daily inspiration is brought to you by ER Fisheries. Each and every one of you has the power, the will, and the capacity to make a difference in the world in which you live. And that is by the recently late Harry Belafonte.
All right. Dale.
Sure.
Yeah, give a little something. Anyway, folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamal Hartman. Make it a safe and a great day. We're out. Peace.